Hey everyone, welcome back to Brown Coat Nerd. Today we have a follow-up to our Mandalorian HasLab Razor Crest unboxing. Finally got it all put together, and as you notice, I just had to get the old Firefly Serenity Mule out. This whole little project here reminds me very much of this Quantum Mechanics limited edition run. And they're almost kind of to scale, so they go very well together. So anyways, I had to get that guy out. Put it down here. Out of the way and back to what we're talking about today. Alright, here she is. So the story on this, I believe it was November of 2021. HasLab started one of these projects, and basically they're like GoFundMes. And they said, we're going to put out this highly detailed Razor Crest model. This is the only time we'll be doing it. And the price was $350. Came to $380 after tax and shipping. The reach goal was 6,000. So they said if we sell 6,000 of these guys, we will make it and deliver it to your door. And then on top of that, what are you doing, traveler? Get out of the mule. Dog's weird. He will lick anything. After that 6,000, then they had additional reach goals. And I couldn't find the numbers anywhere. I was kind of poking around online real quick. Puppy. Back off. Sorry. But they did have a total of 5 additional reach goals or unlocks, whatever you want to call them. And I'll point those out as I go through everything that this came with. And essentially, everything that this did come with is on or in the ship, other than the landing gears. I did leave those off. I'll put those on here in a little bit. I haven't actually even put them on yet. And then I was also left with the Mando's little jetpack, little make-do prim. And then, of course, part of the reach goals were this carded figure, and then we also got the off-world Jawa. So we got the child and the Jawa additionally. Puppy, do not pee on those. I will not be happy. Oh, and then also I have down here somewhere Mando's rifle. His handgun, I did not even realize this. He does have a holster, so his little blaster you can just put into his holster. And these are left off not because there's nowhere to put it. There are tons of little nooks and crannies on this ship. I was just kind of throwing it together. So putting those off to the side just so you know they're there. Ugh, dusty. And that's just paint. Anyways, so their reach goal was 6,000, and that would greenlight the project and get it going. They ended up selling a total of 28,115. Now, I do believe it was higher. I want to say at one point I saw it as high as 32,000. Spoiler alert, is in season 2, the old Razor Crest gets blowed up. So a lot of people got pretty upset at that had placed orders, and so I do believe there was a bunch of cancellations after that episode, which I think is just kind of silly. Because one of the other big HasLab projects was the Jabba the Hutt's sail barge. And that thing got blowed up too, and it had a lot less screen time than this guy. But a total of 28,115 were made. So there's your production. I'm sure they probably did a couple hundred extra too. Like I said, I believe the orders they started taking in November of 2021. Right around that time there. I believe they're open for 3 months taking in orders, and we are just now getting them in February of 2022. Also, it's kind of a leap of faith because originally when these were being made available, it was just a gray, like, CG model of what they were planning on making. There was no prototype. We had no clue what the paint was going to look like. And obviously with a ship like this, with this kind of metallic silver finish, that's kind of a big deal and rather important. The dimensions are 30 inches long, and that does include the tip of the cannons here, We are 20 inches wide, and then when it's sitting on the landing gear, it will sit 10.5 inches tall. So let's go ahead and dive into what we got here. There's a lot to go over. So right now, we got Mando chilling in the canopy. So we can go ahead and take this piece off. And a lot of these pieces are kind of finicky to take off, and when they come off, they come flying off. Hopefully I didn't mar up the plastic there. No, we're good. So here's our ship, or our cockpit rather. One of the things I find pretty interesting is the joystick that has the little knob that Grogu's always snatching up, and his figure is holding that knob. It is missing from the cockpit here. We get the Mando version in the full Beskar. This is a unique figure to the Razor Crest. It did not come on a card back, but like I said, it is unique simply for the fact that it is a soft goods cape rather than a hard plastic one. That way he is able to sit like this with the cape on. Oh, excuse me. So, and we do have some kind of tattered marks on the bottom of the cape there, which makes it kind of cool looking. I don't believe the figure itself is necessarily a unique one. I believe it's just the cape. So I'll go ahead and put him out of the way for now. This door does not open, unfortunately, and I wish it did open, even if it didn't go anywhere. You know, like if it just went back a little bit, had some minor detailing, I feel like that would add a lot of depth. I just noticed that weird little mark there. That sucks. Oh well. But with the way they've designed the inside of the ship, it would cut into some of that design. This is not a 1-to-1 scale of the actual scale. I don't know how to say that. They did have to shrink this down. Like the Millennium Falcon, it's not to scale with the figures. It is shrunk down quite a bit. They did the same treatment on this, but just not nearly as much. So I do find that kind of cool. That's a little more close to scale with the figures. So let's see. I don't think there's too much more to go over. Oh, let me get a little flashlight out here. That's a crappy light. Oh well. But you guys can kind of see in there. The seats are nicely detailed. We got some decent detailing on the dash. Bunch of buttons off on the side there. Sorry for the lighting, guys. Still don't have my studio set up. And I should have mentioned this at the beginning. This video is not necessarily for kids. This is not even necessarily for toy collectors. This is not normally the kind of stuff I review. I just knew a lot of my viewers would get a kick out of this. A lot of them are into this kind of stuff. Also just kind of expose them to this and let them know this crap is out there. So yeah, let's continue. So there's our cockpit. Then we got this little side door. Now, one of the things that kind of sucks, actually there's two things that suck that we can see right here. One, and I talked about that in the initial video, and that's the wash. And watching a few of these unboxing videos, the wash varies greatly. See, it's just kind of lazily thrown on right there. Mine overall, I'm not too terribly disappointed. We got a very clear, paintbrush stroke right there. I've seen some videos where they look kind of bad. This one's not horrible. It's kind of in between. And I've even seen some unboxing videos where it looks like it's hardly got any wash treatment at all. So it does vary quite a bit. But one thing that sucks is when it globs up in spots. And you can see right here, we got a whole bunch of glob. And normally I wouldn't even give a crap, but the fact that it's like right with this yellow, like this section right here is a very distinctive section of the Razor Crest. If it was down here or something, I could just say, oh, blaster mark, oil leak, I don't know. But for whatever reason, just being right on that yellow there, it kind of sucks. Bums me out. Not a huge deal. All in all, I'm happy with this purchase. The, total of $380 I spent on this. Not normally the amount of kind of money I spend on collectibles like this. I mean, I guess you could say it's a toy. I look at it more like a model. But yeah. So the other part is this door. And it's not real obvious on the camera here. You can kind of see it. But I feel like in person it jumps out at you a little bit more. That it's not you know, quite closed all the way. And I don't want to glue it closed because the door on the other side does not open. So that kind of sucks, but it is what it is. So we can open this door. It does have the little extension thing. So when it's on the landing gear, this will come all the way down to the ground or tabletop that you have it on. I do kind of wish there was a peg here or something, so you can stick Mando up. This angle is like perfect to recreate the episode 1, where I forget what it was called, that ice monster thing that came out of the frozen over ocean or whatever, and started attacking the ship as they were trying to take off. Like, this angle would be like perfect, you know, to have Mando out there with his you know, little rifle with the prong things going. Anywho, we can kind of see into the ship here. This is our weapons locker. I will get more into that here in a second. That is a fully equipped weapons locker. It's kind of neat that all of the weapons can be, you know, taken out. But I would not have cared at all if they were molded in and painted and detailed, because that was kind of a pain in the butt to fill up. And over here, that top compartment does open up. That panel comes completely off. The bottom compartment there, that opens up. We'll get into all that here in a second. Then we can kind of see this weird looking chair over here with what looks like an oxygen mask. I'm just kidding. That's the bathroom. So that's pretty funny that they included that. You know, first episode, as soon as we get a good look at the, what's his name? The blue dude walking around the ship. That's one of the first things we see, and I got a kick out of that when I first watched the episode. So happy they included that. You can see on that back wall, the bathroom is pretty freaking dirty. There's a whole bunch of wash that they applied to the wall in there, and they did not kind of spread it around very well. It looks like crap. Essentially, no pun intended due to its location. But yeah, you can see there, it's not very well done. Let's see, I do have some of the carbonite folks hanging. Of course, they're facing the other way. Not really taking this view before we can see some of the bags on the wall there. Those do come off. We'll get a better look at this here in just a second. I'll push that up so it doesn't get broke off. We spin her around our other entryway into the ship as this back door here. See the little pistons kind of slide as you open the door. I think that's pretty neat. And so here we can get a little bit better shot of the carbonite figures. Now these carbonite figures were an unlock. Let's see, they were unlock number 3. And I thought that was kind of a crappy deal when they announced this unlock, because they'd already shown like the little clips and the roof there to hold them. And so I would assume if we didn't hit that reach goal that they would have not included those clips, but it's kind of like they made it seem like they were going to be included automatically, but it is what it is. And these are the same carbonite figures from the first episode. Once again, blue dude whose name I cannot think of right now. He goes down, he finds 3 people frozen in carbonite right before he gets himself frozen. And he is also included. I'll show him here in a little bit. It has a little carbonite freezing, I don't know what you'd call that, box fridge. And you can fit one of the carbonite figures in there, and that's where he's chilling at. You can kind of see the bathroom back there a little bit better. Out of focus. And then the netting on the wall here, that does come off. If you want to net off your blurg, I can never remember what those things are called. So, we'll zoom her around. And then there are 2 things on here that I actually kind of thought that they had messed up, and like they're giving us spoilers. So in the all gray CG model of this toy, people started to notice, and where is it at? Where's it on top? Ow. Oh, right there. You cannot see it very well, but it's an LED light. A little bit harder to see because it's got some of that wash weathering treatment on it too. But it's got an LED light under each engine, as well as up front. And when I first saw this, I was like, oh man, they're gonna... It took me back to my brother's old X-Wing toy. It had a little LED light on the nose. You know, you hit a button and it would light up to simulate the, you know, the blaster fire. And I was really hoping they weren't going to do something like that. Because I was wanting to buy this as a model. And that kind of makes it more of a toy. Especially when, you know, in the show, you know, these aren't blasters. It's these guys. So then I went back and watched the show some more. And I actually noticed that it actually has 2 red landing lights. You know, one on each engine. And then it has the 2 little, I don't know if you would call them landing lights as well, up front. But you do see those lit up on the ship. They're not very bright, so they don't really jump out. And of course, when it's an all flat gray CG model, those little red lights jumped out quite a bit. So a lot of people were thrown off by that. I was wondering if it was going to be an eventual reach goal. You know, for them to add in electrical lighting or something. I was kind of, you know, if they had just lights that lit up, I would have been okay with that. I just didn't want any like cheesy, you know, they only come on when you hit a button, it does blaster fire or some crap. Also, I noticed this on the CG model. It stood out quite a bit. And I was like, oh, that's probably a button. And once again, I was like, well, maybe that's the button to activate the lights or something. I was right, it is a button, but I was wrong on it activating the lights because that was never a feature. Nothing is electronic on this. So as we come down, here is, I believe this was our first unlock. Yeah. This was our first reach goal, and that is the escape pod. Once again, you know, they show this on models, and I've seen some people doing reviews, and I'm like, oh, they think it's crap because they would have just left this empty if we didn't hit that first reach goal. And I don't think that's the case. I think that this just would have been one molded piece. This panel wouldn't have come off. You wouldn't have had the detachable escape pod that you could put a figure in. However, I still think it's kind of cheap because none of us knew that was a freaking escape pod until, like, Hasbro was like, unlock the escape pod. You never saw it in the show. Once again, I thought it was going to be maybe like a oops, they knew about something in a later episode or something that involved the escape pod. So I was like waiting to see the escape pod used the entire time after that. Never was. But we do have an escape pod. This panel here pops off. And that kind of exposes some stuff. Once again, we got the wash treatment. I think this looks pretty cool in here, actually. Really like the look of it. Of course, this back section is always exposed. And this guy just comes out. Once again, we got some more detailing on the bottom of that. Don't really know how the hell Mando is supposed to get into the escape pod because there's no like clear hatch. Like on the bottom, we got this thing and maybe it's supposed to correlate with that and it opens up. Of course, the figure, like his head would fit through there and that's about it. But yeah, the top has a little bit of weathering, of course, because that's exposed. This is just plastic. It is not glass or anything. That's just a decal or paint. And it does open up. It's kind of a pain in the butt to get open. There's zero detailing on the inside of it, so there's really nothing to show you. It just clips on and off. And of course, if you want to display this, you know, and wanted someplace to put your Mando figure, but you didn't want him in the cockpit for whatever reason, you know, you could always just pop him in here and drop him in. And just don't forget that you put him there, though. Put that off to the side. Then coming further down, we have another thing that they exposed that we never really saw in the show. And once again, I was like, oh, they'll eventually use that. They goofed up. I'll give us a spoiler, but I just never showed it. This panel here comes off. And then we have another little cannon that comes out and spins around 360 degrees. So there's our detailing in there. Not really... nothing special, but nice little bonus feature. I'm going to leave these panels off as we go. This is going to be a complete nightmare for me to put this thing back together. And that's one of my biggest fears, too, is I'm going to lose a freaking panel or something. So, actually, you know what? Before we continue, let's put our feet on, our landing gears. So this front one, we got a little door here. That just slides open. And that's what we're working with. Pop that guy in. Now, how are we going to do this? Get the back landing gears out. Alright, I'm going to put you all down. Bear with me. stand out of the way. Flip this puppy around. Oh, I think I just lost all of my bags that were hanging on the side there. Okay, so now got those. They open up like so. And I believe that's this one for this side. They're supposed to only go into the correct corresponding side. Ooh. When you're putting it on, make sure you don't get bound up like I just did. Don't want to break that. Click. Put you down again. Oh, more things falling. Spin her around. All right. Open her up. And it's really easy to get bound up on that. And a soft click. Turn her around, let more stuff get tumbled. And let's just throw the cockpit on real quick. This cockpit's kind of a pickle to get on. There we go. So there she is with the landing gear. And I'll show you this door. See, when it comes down, it doesn't quite go all the way down, so it has this little extension that lets it go all the way down. And that is how it is in the show. The show has a little extension ramp that comes out, so I thought that was pretty neat. Then, let's open up this back one again. Whoa, we're losing stuff. This panel here, actually, you know what, hold on. Let's take off this top one first. Push the button that unlocks the centerpiece. We can pull that up, see we got the carbonite figures hanging on there. And then this, oh, it's such a mess. I should have cleaned up before y'all came over. This is our little freezing box. And was in the way. Okay, that's interesting. So just go ahead and point out that if you got a bigger bag hanging right there, that will interfere with this door coming up. See if it clears now. And oh yeah, this entire outer panel has to come off for that door to come all the way up. So I'm gonna put you guys down, pop this out. A few bags left on there. So get all the removable ones off there. Give you guys a better look. My one gripe on this one, I'm fine with like the hooks there, but don't put a hook right there. That, you know, that interferes with whatever this thing is supposed to be. Makes it look a little more artificial. Same with that right there. And I did end up with like more hooks than I needed. And there's quite a few hooks on that netting there. And like I said, you can even pull that down and string that however you want. This ladder here goes to nowhere, but it does pop off if you want to. However, I think it's kind of neat, gives it more of a cutaway aesthetic with the ladder there. But if you're trying to like recreate a scene or something to put on a display, that might get in the way. So this ladder you can pop off, and I'm sure you can move it somewhere else if you wanted to. So now we'll get to our little carbonite fridge. See, there's Blue Dude. So there he is. Mithril, is that what they're called? So if you're not putting a carbonite guy in there, you know, you could also put, you know, Mando's jetpack or other crap in there. Looks like we got a little bit of a scratch. That may have just happened from me turning it around and all those bags coming loose. All right, where's that flashlight? I've lost it. There it is. So we'll see if we can get a better look in here. So yeah, not so much. Go ahead and pop off, pop down that little door there. There's really, I don't think there's any detailing inside there. Yeah, no, that's just a completely vacant spot. That'd be a good spot for Mando's jetpack. And then up above, this panel comes completely off. And this one does have some detail, and that one's pretty cool. It's got the little hammock. It looks like there's just enough room to perch Grogu on top of that hammock or put him down on the lower section with the bed there if you want. And then the weapons locker. Open this guy up. So there is our weapons locker, and the instructions do kind of show a diagram with an outline, kind of telling you what blasters go where, and I'm sure there's some playability that you can kind of, you know, do your own thing. I'm pretty sure I've got everything correct except for, I think, that top blaster on the wall is supposed to be swapped with that blaster right above the thermal detonators. So there are all those, like I said, I guess it's kind of neat that they pop out, you know, they all stick on there via a peg in the trigger guard, or that goes through the trigger guard. But I would have been perfectly fine if that was just a molded piece and, you know, those bits were painted. Now, I do have a buddy that purchased one of these, and he was sharing some pictures, and I couldn't tell if it was just the lighting, but it almost looks like the inside of his weapons locker has a real light coating of the wash weathering treatment. And I think that would look pretty good if they had done that to all of those. This one does not look like it has any, but that's not a huge deal to me at all. So we'll go ahead and close it up. Oh, and one thing to point out too, like I said, this was a bit of a pickle to get this done. I've seen some people talking about using needle nose pliers. I was able to just kind of set the ship over in my lap. I not put the engines on so that the weapons locker was laying flat. And I was able to kind of get the guns in there and then push them in with my finger. One thing I did that made things much, much easier is I discovered this door, if you just lift up a little bit, or is it pull down? This pops out pretty easily. Okay, so I just pulled down from the top a little bit and it comes right out. That gives your fingers much easier access to this weapons locker because you don't have that door in your way. So if you're getting one of these and you haven't put everything in there, or whatever reason you're having to redo it, keep that in mind. That makes life much easier. And this is easy to pop in and out, not as easy to do while I'm holding a camera. Especially because this ship is kind of shifting around on the table here. Come on now. I'm gonna put you guys down just for a second. I want to hurry and get that back in there. Mainly to show you guys, there we go, that you can do this without, you know, breaking anything. So there we are, just had to wrestle with it a little bit, but we are back on there. So, good to go. Now these engines do pop off. They said they are designed to come back off. So if you should need to take them off for whatever reason, you do have that option. Get this canopy back off. So now let's begin. Oh, and before I guess I kind of strip it down, I wanted to give you a size comparison with the Millennium Falcon that I actually did do a video on. Now the Millennium Falcon is much, much bigger than the Razor Crest. Yeah, you can see here, I mean, it's very different size, but yeah. So, oh man, time to take the panels off, huh? Okay, so I know this one comes off. So there's that. I believe this one comes off. There's that. Another thing too that kind of messed me up is when I was putting these front laser cannons on. Looking at them, you would assume that they go on the other side because it's got like an open molding up top here. But looking at the directions, it said to put them on this way. The box art shows them this way. All the CG models they've had shows it this way. Looking at pictures of from the actual show, this looks ever so slightly designed differently, like where the top comes in just a little bit. But just so you know, not that it really matters because you can't put them on either side and, you know, they move just fine and everything still. But this is technically the way they are supposed to go on. If that's something that would bug you. So I think, other than the engine, we got all the panels off on this side. So, got this guy to pop off. Here's that. Yeah, this is the one that comes off real easy. I might actually end up like gluing this one on. This one wasn't even on there in the box. It just falls right out. So there's that engine. I think that is all of the panels for there. Spin her around. I don't even know like which way to pry on these panels. Okay, so it's got another one right up front. You know, maybe this isn't a toy or a model, but rather a puzzle. So we got that stuff there. And these ones are kind of interesting because it's not... And see, we got a door here, but that is not functionable. And actually in the show, we never even see that door used, so... Okay, you know, in some of the models I've seen it look like little openings. Maybe it's just the push-out section for the pegs. I was thinking it had like little kind of almost windows. Which am I right on this one? Okay. I wonder how long before people have to start 3D printing these panels because they lost them or broke them. Okay, well that one's kind of opened up. That's what I'm talking about. There's that guy, and we got one more. That dude. So, you end up with a bit of a mess. But now we look like we parked her car in the wrong neighborhood. I feel like family vacation right here, going through East St. Louis. This is what happens when you stop to get directions. You get your spaceship thrown up on center blocks. So I'm sure a lot of people will be doing this, do like the Jawa strip down. If it were me, I'd leave that center section on the top, because that's just a little much to be coming off on, just to show you there's even detailing that you would not see unless that is off. I'd leave the engines on, but I'd, you know, take all of the panels off and maybe even display it on the other side. Leave this solid panel up, but then, you know, spin it around and use the other side to display with all the smaller panels. Taken off, but that's just me and what I would do. So let's kind of try to make her look a little more solid here real quick. It's kind of hard to explain too to people the size of this thing, because it's a big one. So one thing I can do, where's the panel? Oh, there's the panel. Already getting ready to lose pieces. Good Lord. Oh, you know what? Hold on. I didn't even have all the panels off, guys. Totally skipped over this engine. My apologies. Got that. Is that the only panel that comes off? No. Oh, that's cool looking. It's carbureted. So, there you go. Alright. Spin her back around. See if we can get just a few of these panels on. They probably won't even want to stick. Like I said, this one's a real pain in the butt. Let me know, guys, if you have one of these, if the left engine, the larger cover, like it doesn't even snap in place. It just kind of, it was a little dainty click. Okay. We'll just call that good for now. So, to give you guys an idea of just how big this really is, I got a few household objects out to give you kind of a size comparison. Like I said, here's the Millennium Falcon. I'm not going to be able to get these guys in frame. But a Millennium Falcon should like just dwarf this thing. It does not. Let's see. A Bic lighter is pretty small next to this. Can of soda. This is not product placement. I do not get paid by Dr. Pepper. Although that'd be nice. I'll take payment in soda. Like those engines, they're Foster beers, man. Freaking huge. Let's see. AR-15 mag. Any idea of how big we are? And of course I can't be biased, so AK-47 mag or AKM mag. Also would work in an RPK. .30mm dummy round. You know, so these are just some of the household items that your Razor Crest will just completely dwarf. So, and then, oh yeah, and last but not least, because I know everyone has been watching this, dying to know, probably pissed off or have already stopped watching because I haven't shown you yet, can I open this? There we go. Will a Glock 43 fit in the back of a Razor Crest? Now this also has a TLR 6 on it. And she just goes right in like it's nothing. So there you go, guys. Finally proved and confirmed a Glock 43 will fit inside the Razor Crest. There's enough room there. I'm pretty sure a Glock 43X would fit in there too. Alright guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you for watching. If you did like it, please like and subscribe. Stay safe and stay shiny.